in the 1880s, they established a commission to decide what they were going to do with the vast sums of money they were collecting. We were collecting so much money so fast, we didn't know what to do with it. Isn't that
funny? And they never thought healthcare. My goodness, we could put a doctor in every city.
Problem to have? What do you think, Marco? Good problem? Marco would love that problem.
He'd love to have it. Probably, he'd love to have that. I don't know what to do. So much money. I don't know what to do. Marco.
We don't have that problem.
He just said, duh. During your economic speech, I think it's in general, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's bad form to actually say duh.
Marco would love that problem. But we don't have that problem anymore, but we're not going to have it very much longer, I will tell you. But they collected so much money, they actually formed a commission to determine what they were going to do with the money. Who?
Yeah, because they didn't have a budget. You weirdo. The government was still forming.
We're going to give it to it, how much? Then in 1913, for reasons unknown to mankind, they established the income tax so that citizens, rather than foreign countries.
Oh, I know why. Mankind knows, because the cost of the taxation fell on the poor, as it would with tariffs, because it raises prices. To lower prices where people won't starve to death, they added an income tax so that people who were wealthy and doing well could help pay their fair share, instead of, offloading the cost of that onto the customers and basically living a tax-free life.
Would start paying the money necessary to run our government. Then in 1929, it all came to a very abrupt end with the Great Depression, and it would have never
happened
if they had stayed with the tariff policy. It would have been a much different story. They tried to.
Yeah, we would have been blockaded during World War II, and our industries would have collapsed. That's what happens when you rely on tariffs, because you opened yourself up. The rest of the world, if a country wants to stop you, they just stop the shipping. They just either blow up the ships that are bringing in goods or taking them out. And if you rely on tariffs, money from stuff coming in, you destroy your customer base inside the country and you stop ship from coming in. Suddenly they got no money to run the fucking government. Stupid.
Bring back tariffs to save our country, but it was gone. It was gone. It was too late.
We've always had tariffs. It was not gone.
Nothing could have been done. It took years and years to get out of that depression, far longer than even FDR had that office right over there for a long period of time. The ramp system, that's rather intricate, was built because of him, and every time you walk up, you think of him, and he did a great job in many ways, but
I do, yeah. Every time I walk up the road, I go, hey, oh, President Hot Wheels, right? That's what.
Lasted long beyond his terms, as you know. But it's not too late any longer, and we're going to start being smart, and we're going to start being very wealthy again. We're going to be.
Really? You plan on, you're going to start being wealthy and smart again? How will we know? Are you going to fly a little I'm smart flag? Is it how? When will this occur, and what will be our indicator of when you think you've finally gotten smart?
Oh, hello there. Wealthy as a country because they've taken so much of our wealth away from us. We're not going to let that happen.
No, they have not.
Truly can be very wealthy. We can be so much wealthier than any country. It's not even believable, but we're getting.
You're right. It's not believable.
Smart. Nearly a century later, in the face of unrelenting economic warfare, the United States can no longer continue with a policy of unilateral economic surrender. We cannot pay the deficits of Canada, Mexico, and so many other countries.
Yeah, we can. Yes, we can. This is not the reason why costs are going up, right? or even why the government debt has gone up. The reason the government debt is motherfucker. The reason the government debt has gone up. Why? Why has the government debt gone up? I'll tell you why. 9/11, 2008, COVID, right in a row. And because of 9/11, $6 to $7 trillion worth of expenditure on the Iraq and Afghanistan wars with no return in that regard. Just bad money after good, or good money after bad, or whatever. All the money was bad. And we're still the wealthiest country in the world. Exactly. The debt we have and the issue we have didn't come because we're being too nice to our people. We leveraged Social Security against the Iraq War, the bailouts, which, by the way, made money for the U.S. government, $500 billion in the end. And then COVID just happened. And COVID blew a $20 trillion hole in the U.S. economy, and we plugged it with 9. For real. Like, for fuck's sake. This isn't because Canada is charging us too much for fucking donuts. America's financial issue, especially with debt and deficit spending, has nothing to do with goods we buy from other countries and the difference in amount that we buy. Nothing.
Do it. We can't do it anymore.
Fuck.
We take care of countries all over the world.
We don't take care of countries. They have stuff we want and we buy it. We don't take care of them.
Their military, we pay for everything they have to pay. And then when you want to cut back,
we pay for everything they have to pay. Trump has a secret plan. Yeah, this is the big unveiling of the secret plan.
A little bit, they get upset that you're not taking care of them any longer, but we have to take care of our people, and we're going to take care of our people first.
Yeah, but this isn't about tariffs. If you don't want to like support places, allies militarily, then fucking say it, you wuss.
I'm sorry to say that.
Make it about fucking cheese and eggs and wine and cars. That was an organized clap. That was fucking somebody in the White House going. He thinks you're not paying attention. He hasn't gotten. You have to cheer him on the regular. It's like you need an occasional slap on the ass to maintain your erection at that age.
And today we're standing up for the American worker, and we are finally putting America first.
Also, phrases and bumper stickers and words that say things, because words and phrases that make true phrase thing saying, word and repeated, and phrase again, also phrase, also bumper sticker hat thing.
In Sleepy Joe Biden's last year in office, the United States hemorrhaged 100,000 manufacturing jobs, and the number was going through the roof at level.
I think technically if you're hemorrhaging jobs, it doesn't go through the roof, it goes down. Bad lines don't go up traditionally. I mean, maybe the roof was on fire and that's how they went through. And no, we weren't.
Never seen before. And our trade deficit reached a record $1.2 trillion, which...
Yes, because compared to the rest of the fucking world, we had more money to spend and we kept spending it. It's why the Fed couldn't lower interest rates, because consumers were still buying shit.
Unheard of.
It's completely heard of. It means we had more money than the rest of the world put together. Again, look at the bigger economies in the world that are allegedly nipping at our heels. China, Russia, even the EU. They're nowhere near the number they said they were. China's economy isn't at $18 trillion. It's closer to 7 at best. That's why we have a $1 trillion deficit with the rest of the world, because there's no fucking way they can buy as much as they used to, because it was always bullshit. And they ran out of steam before we did. It was effectively like an economic version of Reagan's Cold War strategy.
Beginning of NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made. It was a horror show. I was able to terminate it. They all said you'd never be able to get it out. We had to get approval from Congress to get it terminated. We had to.
You didn't terminate it. You did a modification of it. And apparently it's worse.
With that deal, it was the worst deal, worst trade deal ever made by far.
Yeah, but we didn't have to do a fucking trade war to right any of the wrongs. We were able to just fight elements of it where people tried to skirt it in court and make up for it through other industry. But apparently the USMCA, who it just was asked from the start.
Since the very beginning of NAFTA, our country lost 90,000 factories. Think of what that is, 90,000. Think about putting a map up and putting tax on it. You wouldn't have enough room. 90,000. I said, is that possible? We had to check.
Oh, God. Hold on. NAFTA is Biden's fault, and we lost 90,000 factories. That will be the thing. Okay, hold on. Um, Talking about being accurate, although pre-pandemic numbers are worth examining. Historical data shows statistics show that manufacturing employment has risen from 789,000 since Biden took office in January 21. That qualifies as close to 800,000. The first 3 quarters of those job gains represent a return to pre-recession levels, but historical post-recession patterns show that it's rare for manufacturing jobs to bounce back at all. Biden gained manufacturing jobs. Manufacturing job. Joe Biden, fact-checking Joe Biden on the creation of 800,000 manufacturing jobs. Joe Biden took a recent victory lap on social media, touting the number of manufacturing jobs created on his watch. Social media people took issue. The hard number, according to that, was they created 175,000 over the manufacturing jobs that existed in 2020. He added 175,000 on top of that. And the idea that they were just going to magically come back, which a lot of these, we have a real problem with this, the post-COVID and even post-2008, because Biden and Obama don't get the credit for salvaging the industries. The assumption was, well, the jobs that were there are just going to magically reappear at some point, aren't they? No, they aren't. That's not guaranteed. Joint Economic Council. Let's see. Biden is underway. Okay, this is January 19. Got U.S. on the verge of a boom for American manufacturing. Needs to convince voters to vote for long. In swing states and factory towns, Biden is making a resurgence in domestic manufacturing central to his re-election pitch. He's highlighting a surge of investments across the nation as evidence that an economic agenda is centered on reviving the country's industrial core is just starting to pay off. Yeah, that's when he's talking about what he's got. Oh, there was a thing. Let me show you this, though. This is fun. So I want to say, who was the Bloomberg? Let's see. The whole thing where he got his investment money, like how much of it is actually real. It's such a, like, oh my God, the rolling article tops on these things. Search, where's the search thing? Bloomberg, where's your search, you weirdo? Okay, here it is. Trump investment. Oh, quit it. I keep hitting on this new keyboard. It's not new. It's just on the Mac instead of the PC. The emoji button. Trump investments. 1.4 trillion, something like that, something along those lines. Trump says, come on, you guys. I saw this article earlier. It's going to be on. Hold on. I know what I'll do. I think it's still open on my phone, possibly. Yeah, baby. Yeah, there we go. So I will send it to there. Yes. Here you go. So, yeah. Okay. So, this is an article on Bloomberg. Trump's $1.6 trillion corporate pledge parade. What's real? What's not? They talk about the Masa Yoshi-san guy who everybody calls Masa. He's gonna, he said he's a great, like, he said $100 billion. He said, could you make it 200 billion? He's like, Trump barely broke a smile. 200 billion, he repeated, like as if he's forcing him to do it, whatever. And then he had ChatGPT and all these people come in and say they're going to put 500 billion on U.S. technology infrastructure within 4 years. Doubts about whether the venture could even pull off an investment that big set in almost immediately. Such intense pressure that business leaders are feeling to pledge support to Trump and the economic prosperity promised on the campaign trail in the form of big, round, marketable figures, real or not, job creating or not, new or not, including a parade of commitments. Since Trump was elected to his second term, Apple Incorporated pledged to spend $500 billion in the U.S. over the next 4 years. Eli Lilly plans to drop $27 billion to make drugs in America. The French shipping firm CMA CGM SA committed $20 billion last week. There, altogether, the corporate pledges amount to roughly $1.6 trillion in spending, and at least 426,000 jobs promised, according to a Bloomberg analysis of announcements made since Trump's election, the vast majority of which either referenced the new administration or Trump has gone out of his way to take credit for. That's more than the capital spending of all companies in the entire S&P index in the last calendar year. Right. So these are the areas where it's in. It's all tech, by the way. And this is the part that I wanted to show you. Many of the spending plans aren't new. Altman's lofty goal of building hundreds of billions of dollars worth of AI infrastructure, for example, was in motion under the Biden administration. Some, like Apple's, closely track with what the companies have already spent in recent years. They're just acting like it's new, so he'll go, oh, so fucking dumb. Like all these promises are like, yeah, we're going to keep investing on the level that we're investing now. Thank you, Gene.
4 different times, and it was actually somewhat higher than that. And 5 million manufacturing jobs were lost while racking up trade deficits of $19 trillion. That was the worst trade deal ever made. As a result of these gigantic...
Wait, it's like, so over the course of the years, the trade deficits of every year that NAFTA existed, fuck me. So this is the math they're doing. The year of all trade deficits put together, not the ones including NAFTA, like the U.S. and Canada in that regard, for every year that it existed worldwide, stacks up to $19 trillion. Because we did not have $19 trillion worth of trade deficits with Canada and Mexico over the course of the existence of NAFTA since mid-90s.
As foreign nations now own $26 trillion more of American assets than think of this, than the Americans own of their own foreign assets or...
I'm sorry, I'm starting to black out from the stupid. What? Run that by me again, shithead?
Think of this, then the American...
No, hold on, back up, because I gotta, this is what?
As a result of these gigantic losses, foreign nations now own $26 trillion more of American assets than think of this, than the Americans own of their own foreign assets or other foreign assets. The United States can no longer produce...
What? Sorry. So foreign countries own more of their property and their stuff than we own of their property and their stuff? What? Fuck me. Like, I know that there's probably some economic principle that he's trying to articulate because it's written in the fucking teleprompter for him, but this is his understanding of it is so fucking weak that it literally, like, it boils your brain if you try to work it out.
Enough antibiotics to treat our sick. We have a tremendous problem. We have to go to foreign countries to treat our sick. If anything ever
To treat our sick, yes, we have to. Anybody who needs antibiotics, we have to ship them to India.
happened from a war standpoint, we wouldn't be able to do it. We import virtually
Yes, we would. We produce antibiotics and drugs in this country, but they are cheaper when they are made in places like India so far. Automation is going to change that over the next fucking decade. And so that whole talking point is just going to fucking evaporate because time moves forward. And he's going to try and take credit for it as if AI and automation were an invention of, that he came up with in Trump Tower on a fucking napkin, like the Stonehenge prop in Spinal Tap. For fuck's sake. We get 90% of our antibiotics and pain relievers and stuff from other countries because they're cheap. They make so many of them that they sell to the rest of the world. So you can buy them at a lower price. We buy 90% of them from these countries because they're at a lower price. If we couldn't get them anymore, we would just have them here. We just make more of them here, and we would stockpile more of them here at a higher cost. But what makes every fucking CVS and Walgreens and fucking like Target or Walmart or like the Kmarts that still exist, when you walk through there, go look sometime at the just rows of fucking ibuprofens that are available to you. Just rows and fucking rows of different brands and variations of them. The reason they're that available and that fucking cheap is because they're made in other countries like that. If we got into deep shit, that's all those available options would shrink down to about 3. The price would go up slightly, but only for a short period of time until they ramped up production at those places to make up for the fact that the cost versus the return became worth it.
all of our computers, phones, televisions, and electronics. We used to
Are assembled overseas.
dominate the field, and now we import it all from different countries.
Right, because it's cheaper. Because we can have better stuff cheaper because of labor costs. Yeah.
Single shipyard in China now produces more ships every year than all of the American shipyards combined. Think of that.
Yeah, but they sink. They suck. They sink and they suck.
And it was a business that we used to dominate. We used to dominate it totally.
Yeah, because very few countries in the world could even afford a fucking ship. Jesus Christ. Yeah, you know who used to dominate American ships? Whoever made the fucking Mayflower at one point. We used to dominate the car market before other countries began to have the capacity to make fucking cars.
In short, chronic trade deficits are no longer merely an economic problem. They're a national emergency that threatens our security and our very way of life. It's a very great threat to our country. And for these reasons, starting tomorrow, the United States will implement reciprocal tariffs on other nations. It's been a long time since we even thought of that. We used to think about it a lot. We didn't think about it for many decades. And
Right, because cheap goods became more available to the average American. But since you don't give a fuck about the poor bastards that voted for you, and you don't care if their prices go up, because fuck them, they've got too much junk in their trailer as far as your crowd thinks. Like, when a 10% difference or a 20% difference even on a like a I don't know, a private plane is a lot, but it's not going to break the bank because you're already in for a penny in for a pound. If a plane is $1.2 million and it goes to $1.5 million, it's not that big of a difference for somebody who's in the position to buy something that costs $1.2 million in the first fucking place. But when it starts affecting groceries, a word you seem unfamiliar with, or just like basic commuter vehicles, it's a huge difference. To somebody who can only afford $35,000 for a car, it going to $42,000 is a drastic change. And I don't think I think they have so much maybe this is affluenza. Maybe this is just proof of affluenza. Maybe this fucker just can't understand that difference, and he thinks that he waves his hand and fucking, McDonald's fish sandwiches just magically appear like they're made in the replicator on Star Wars, or he can just yell, "Hey, Coke!" and somebody will bring it to him.
See what's happened. For nations that treat us badly, we will calculate the combined rate of all their tariffs, non-monetary barriers, and other forms of cheating. And because we are being very kind, we're kind people, very kind. You're not so kind when you got ripped off with your salaries. My auto worker friends and my Teamster friends and all of the unions that typically voted Democrat, they're not voting Democrat anymore because worker, whether
Well, we'll see about that.
union or non-worker, they're for the Republicans now. That's what happened. But we will charge them approximately half of what they are and have been charging us. So
what's the calculus? How do you calculate this? What are the non-monetary tariffs and the limitations they put on? What if they just don't take our fucking beef because of mad cow? How do you put what's the monetary value on you have to eat poison meat?
the tariffs will be not a full reciprocal. I could have done that, yes, but it would have been tough for a lot of countries who didn't want to do that. I'd like to see the chart if you have it. Could you bring it?
Yeah, bring up the chart. Let's hold the chart like a fucking gibbon.
Howard, this is our great Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Thanks, Howard.
It's great. It's a good one. This will work it out for everybody. Yeah. Hold on. There's got to be a version of it someplace, right? Hold on. We got to bring it up. I gotta find it. Hold on. Trump, reciprocal, 50% reciprocal tariff chart. Allow. There's the. This is the. What to know? Where is it? This is the fucking stupid part of it. Show the. Okay, here's the actual chart. This is what he's doing. Full list of countries hit with 50% reciprocal tariffs. Okay, so this is their equation. China, hold on. China, 67% tariffs charged. They're going to charge them 34%. European Union, 39%, because it's going to be 20% on every country in the European Union, in theory. Vietnam, 90%. They're going to get 46%. Right. By the way, as Apple is moving their iPhone factory there. Taiwan, 64 is going to go to 32. So just 2 points behind China. Okay. Japan, 46 to 24. India, 52, 26. South Korea, 50, not 500, but 50, it'll be 25. Thailand, 72. None of these people are doing 200%. Where the fuck is Canada on this fucking list? Is it not? Are they assumed to be separate? Cambodia is getting fucked. 97%. Because we got to get into that sweet Cambodian market. We need some of that Cambodian money. You know, those people in Cambodia living too high on the hog. Yeah, Canada has its own list. Donuts, coffee, and hockey. Why'd the audio? Okay. What happened? I lost the audio on this guy for a second. Back up, stupid. Did the audio drop out of that video or something? What happened? Okay, no, it's something. It's an issue. System audio. Okay, I got a browser. I don't know why this is in here, but we'll see. The Safari's in there. What's happening? Okay. I mean, not that anybody cares.
You bring it up, Howard. This is our great Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. Thanks, Howard.
I don't know what that was about.
So,
it just got weird for a second.
If you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So,
also, and trade barriers. So I don't know, like 100% things that can't come in at all. So that 50% of everything.
67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring, it's very windy out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chance of standing. Fortunately, we came armed with a little smaller chart. So it's 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think.
Jesus Christ, this is like used car salesman. It's becoming like Crazy Eddie's White House trade war.
In other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be, because we never charge anybody anything. But now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You think.
What? Hold on. All of these were like, the European Union's like, if you think about it, 100% on everything, and now it's 39%.
Of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam, great negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. The problem is they charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% tariff. Taiwan.
Well, again, what the fuck is, like, again, there's a bunch of stuff that's made in Vietnam now that's moving out of China. And the whole purpose, like, with this trade thing, it's now cheaper to move your manufacturing back to China from Vietnam. That's how fucking stupid this is. And we could trust Vietnam. We can't trust China. But if you have a factory and you're worried about tariffs at all, but you can't move it back to the United States, it's now like a huge financial win to move your factory back from Vietnam to China. This helps Xi Jinping. And what the fuck, like, are Americans like, God damn it, if we could just carve off a piece of that fucking sweet Vietnamese consumer market.
Where they took all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We were everything. We had all of it.
They didn't take it. Oh, they just showed my video on CBS. I swear to God, if I can't buy an electric car after all this with that footage, as much as it's seen, that's nuts.
Now we have almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing company, Mr. Wei, of one of the great companies of the world.
One of them, TSMC, you mean?
World, actually. They're coming in from Taiwan, and they're going to build one of the
TMSC, Taiwan superconductor.
Biggest plants in the world, maybe the biggest for that. But 64%, we're going to charge them 32%. Japan, very, very tough, great people. And again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right in that Oval Office, right over there, right behind the Resolute desk or whichever desk they chose.
Yeah, he has a weird fixation ever since Musk wiped a booger on his desk.
Japan, 46%. They were charging.
At this point, why not just turn the fucking thing into a game show? Seriously, just at some point, just just go, who has Sri Lanka as being the worst, like the most affected? Sri Lanka, give it up. We'll see. Hold on, I got to see if is it in here? Where do I have that? Sri Lanka gonna be our sample music. This thing. I thought I had. Son of a bitch. Oh, there it is. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Who picked Sri Lanka, ladies and gentlemen? Going once, going twice. Sri Lanka, 88% tariff, 44%. If you were moving your business out of China to Sri Lanka, fuck you, because we want to break in there and flatten the economy of Sri Lanka. That's right, Sri Lanka, everybody. Yep. Who picked that? That was fantastic. And who wants to think that next in line that it would actually be better for you to do business in China than it would be to do business in Laos? That we consider Laos more of a problem. Do we? Because going to the panel now, and the judges will have to walk on this one. Ladies and gentlemen, is Laos a worse place to do business than China? And that's correct. Yes, Laos had it coming. That's the game show. Thank you.
Just 46%, and much higher for certain items like cars, little items like cars. 46%, we're charging them 24%. India, very, very tough, very, very tough. The prime minister just left, and he's a great friend of mine, but I said, you're a friend of mine, but you're not treating us right. They charge us 52%. You have to understand, we charge them almost nothing for years and years and decades, and it was only 7 years.
That's because their poverty rate is through the fucking roof. And unlike China, they're not a developing country with a space program and a military set to rival the United States. Here's the thing. If you start your military buildup and you state at some point that you're going to have a military greater than developed countries, then you're no longer developing. You're good now. If you can take care of your poor and pay all your bills enough so you can have a fucking space program, you're not developing anymore, China. And at least India never did that. India's like, we got a lot of people and we're developing. We got a lot of places where there's no phones, there's no paved roads, there's no fucking toilets. We got a lot of work to do.
Years ago, when I came in, we started with China in charge. We took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China in tariffs. And they understood, honestly. President Xi understood. He said, look, I understand. And the other countries, and they all understand. We're going to have to go through a little tough love, maybe. But
yeah, a little bit. And by the way, the tough love means you assholes who have to pay for stuff.
They all understand. They're ripping.
He doesn't have to pay for anything. He's president of the United States, and he's allegedly rich. He's got meme coin to fall back on.
Off, and they understood it. Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo Abe. He was a fantastic man. He was.
What about the guy who's current prime minister? What's his name? Do you have his name on the tip of your tongue?
Unfortunately, taken from us, assassination. But I went to him and I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. A trade.
He unfortunately taken from us, assassination. You mean unfortunately he was assassinated? He was taken from us. He was assassinated. Just, you know what? Just say nouns.
It's not fair. And he said, I know that. I know that. And he was a great gentleman. He was a fantastic man, but he understood immediately what I was talking about. I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. He said, I know that. And we worked out a deal, and it would have been a much better deal, but frankly, there were many years left on the deal that was made previous to my getting there, but it was something.
Left on the deal made previous. Then why? What? You couldn't renegotiate the deal? You did USMCA.
If you look at Switzerland, 61% to 31%. Indonesia, Malaysia, Cambodia. Oh, look at Cambodia, 97%. We're going to bring it down to 49. They made a fortune with the United States of America.
What are you talking about? Yeah. Oh, yeah. The fucking Cambodia. It's the Dubai of the the near Far East.
United Kingdom, 10%, and we'll go 10%. So we'll do the same thing. South Africa, 60%, 30%, and they've got some bad things going on in South Africa. You know, we're paying them billions of dollars, and we cut the funding because a lot of bad things are happening in South Africa. The fake news ought to be looking at it. They don't want to report it. Brazil.
Like what? Just go on. Tell everybody about it.
10%, 10%.
Explain, like, I love when you do game of telephone with Elon Musk's racism.
Bangladesh is 74%. So you see what's going on. Pakistan, 58%. Sri Lanka, 88%. So what we're doing is we're taking not the full, we could take the full 88%. Thanks a lot, Art. He's doing a very good job. How's he doing, all right? I think you better take it with you. It's not going to last very long. He's going to put it, it's going to follow you down with the wind. I brought a hat just in case it got too windy, but here, would anybody like a hat? I'm not giving it to a cabinet. I'm giving it to the auto workers. Come here.
Violating the Logan Act every single day.
Thank you, fellas. Get it. That's it. That's it.
Get it, you chimps. Grab at it. Grab that hat, you fucking losers.
They deserve it more than our cabinet.
Deserve a hat?
Our cabinet has plenty of hats. But
so they don't deserve it more. It's that your cabinet's up to here with the fucking hats already.
You see the numbers. The numbers are so disproportionate. They're so unfair. At the same time, we will establish a minimum baseline tariff of 10%. You notice that on the chart. And that'll be on other countries to help rebuild our economy and to prevent cheating. So we're going to have a minimum of cheating, and we're going to be very severe on the people that at the gate that watch the tariffs and watch the product coming in, because there's been a lot of bad things happening at the gate.
Oh yeah, the gate. Which gate would that be? At Baldur's Gate, or?
Because the money is so enormous that you're talking about. There's never been probably anything like it in terms of the enormity and.
Well, I mean, I think anything that people haven't seen before is probably the reason they haven't seen it is because it's either really big or really small.
There are a lot of bad things happen at the
gate.
People that do the check-in and
at the check-in at the gate.
They're looking at 10-year jail sentences if they do play. We're going to treat them so good, but if they cheat, the repercussions are going to be extremely strong.
Oh, really? We don't have rules about people at our ports of entry and goods coming into the country? We don't have any rules about that right now, that maybe if people break the law, they have.
Foreign nations will follow.
Also, sorry, are you raising the sentencing on criminal activity via executive order now?
Finally be asked to pay for the privilege of access to our market, the biggest market in the world. We're right now the biggest market in the world. We had a great.
Yeah, asshole. That's why we buy more from other countries than they buy from us.
Country 4 years ago in terms of the economics. We were doubling up on China. We were doing so well. Nobody was.
No, we weren't. We didn't. China didn't have a trade deficit with us.
Going to catch us, but so much of it slipped away over the last 4 years under Biden.
Away.
I campaigned on this policy.
Again, no, it didn't. It nearly like full employment
throughout last year, and today that promise was made, and it was also a promise, as you know, that was kept. Promises made, promises kept.
That's what it says in the teleprompter. You could have just said that part. And
to any company that objects to our common sense reciprocal tariffs, again, reciprocal, back and forth, back and forth.
Yes, my sister, my daughter, my tariffs, my taxes, my tariff, my tax. It's a tax and a tariff. It's a tariff and a tax. I can't take it anymore.
And I call this kind reciprocal.
Jesus Christ. Fuck, man. Like, as bad as this stuff is, the fact that he can't speak is worse. At least Biden had a fucking stutter.
is not full reciprocal. This is kind reciprocal.
It's a kind of reciprocal in that it's not.
But what we do is we cut it.
I call it wuss out reciprocal. You're a reciprocal pussy. There you go. You like that? Wear that around your fucking neck. You're too weak to do reciprocal, and you were talked out of it by all the business leaders around you, including Besant. They're like, dude, if you do reciprocal, we're fucked forever. They'll just reroute markets around us, and we'll be like twice the size. It will be 3 times the size of Canada with none of the business.
In half, we charge them. My answer is very simple. If they complain, if you want your tariff rate to be 0, then you build your product right here in America, because there is no tariff if you build your plant, your product in America. And
what if we have no interest in building it here? It's just shit we want to buy from somewhere else because they have it, and we don't need to fucking do it.
Seen companies coming in like we've never seen before. Likewise to all of the foreign presidents, prime ministers,
like we've literally always seen.
Kings, queens, ambassadors, and everyone else who will soon be calling to ask for exemption.
Yeah, they're soon going to be calling you.
From these tariffs, I say, terminate your own tariffs, drop your barriers, don't manipulate your currencies. They manipulate their currencies like nobody can even believe, which is a...
Right. You mean that their currency isn't as valuable as ours? What about the countries that use ours, like Argentina and Turkey and some African countries that use the dollar? How the fuck do you manage it? How is that not building it in the United States, since it's technically done with American dollars?
Bad thing, and very devastating to us.
Ugh,
and start
terrible.
Buying tens of billions of dollars of American goods. Tariffs give our country protection against those that would do us economic harm. And many people were looking to do us economic harm. Maybe not so obviously, but they were doing tremendous economic harm. But even,
Jesus Christ, just say economic harm and move on.
Even more importantly, they will give us growth. These tariffs are going to give us growth like you haven't seen before.
Cool. Yeah. Welcome to the age of trust me, bro.
And it'll be something very special to watch. I am so...
There will be growth from it. Prices are going to grow.
Looking forward. And Brian, it's going to happen even faster than you said. You know, you might say, but it's already started.
Yeah, because of the Biden factories?
It's already started. Work's already begun on plants all around the country. And you see that as before. These are...
Yes, the stuff that was financed 2 years ago in the infrastructure bill.
Big,
the rescue
rich
package.
Companies. We have $61 billion started on a big plant going up. It's going to be announced over the next 2 days. And
yeah, it's the big $61 billion plant where they make the plant stuff. That plant wouldn't be cannabis, would it?
Already started work. Many of these the biggest companies in the world, they've committed to build. We're going to build, sir. And
yeah, we're going to keep building all these fucking factories that don't actually employ anybody.